I'm Lisa Tarr, pediatric physical therapist and CEO and founder of First Steps Pediatric Therapy and First Steps Clinic. And we are here to talk to you today about getting your kids moving, whether you have a neurotypical child or you have a child with identified motor delays such as ADHD, ASD, or any other neurological impairments. So first I'm going to go ahead and break some things down by age. So we're going to start with those kids that are 2 to 5 years old. And we really want to help get those kids starting to move and build their strength and coordination and some foundational motor skills. And this is going to help with language development as well as coordination, emotional regulation, in addition to just general body awareness. So we're really getting them to develop some of those foundations. First Steps can help with kids with sensory sensitivities, such as kids with texture issues or difficulty with processing sounds. They also help with kids with motor planning challenges, kids that are clumsy, falling a lot, they have poor spatial awareness. We also have we help kids with difficulty with transitioning between activities, as well as if you have a child with any of these, we definitely can help you. So some activities for you guys as parents, you guys can try at home is for those kids that are around that 2 to 4 age. I love bubble play. So the clapping, the stomping, the jumping, the popping, running everywhere around the yard is always really great. That's one of my favorite summer activities for sure is, those big bubble ones. Then I also like for those kids that are those sensory seekers that need that deep pressure, mini trampolines, a therapy ball or a peanut ball is really good, or a tunnel or fort is really great for them to just get some of that deep pressure. Other things that you guys can do at home when you have your kids around all year long is you can help them with more chore based. So, get them a Swiffer, shorten up, the Swiffers are great because you can actually take off some of the middle sections and then make it shorter. And so getting them to move and follow you around with a purpose is really great. Getting outdoors is awesome, especially when it's nice out. Water play, walks to the park, exploring playgrounds, swings, going down slides, all of those things are really amazing to help your kids throughout the summer. And then if you need some climate controlled activities, dancing it out, putting on favorite music, such as like something from your favorite movie, just trying to do dancing together, and or if you guys want to just do a freeze dance is always really great. And then for those kids that are a little bit more slower or cautious with their movement, yoga is really awesome and great to go ahead and try. All right, so now we're going to hit our elementary age kids. So these are those kids like 5 to 10, 5 to 11. And what we're going to focus on is increasing the strength. We're going to be developing coordination, building that confidence, and then getting them to where they can start playing with their peers. So really starting to develop that foundational in the earlier years before they get to school is super important. Movement is going to help boost attention. It's going to help them with learning. In addition, it's going to help build that emotional resilience that they're going to need to get through school. And this is super helpful for those kids with the ADHD and or the ASD spectrum, just to help them have some functional movement. First Steps helps kids with motor coordination delays, also kids with social anxiety, as well as we help with building their confidence. And then that is group activities and sports in school or extracurricular is such a huge portion of this elementary school age. We can definitely help with them understanding their body and then their body in space and then their body in space with others. And we also help those kids that have that high preference for those screen times and or those kids that could be a little bit overweight. We can definitely help them to get activities to get them feeling a little bit more confident in their body and moving. So some things that you guys can try at home for those elementary school kids is doing more of like a power break. So trying to get them to do a quick, let's do a brain break. Let's, run around. Let's do jumping jacks for 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and try to do some wall pushes. Any of the things that you can do that's more of an isolated, let's do, how many sit-ups can you do in this time frame? And then you can definitely turn like the chores that you have to do into more of like a beat the clock. It's like, oh, well, who can, empty the trash the quickest, or, pick up the socks and, or put everything into the laundry bin. Those types of things would be really great is, you do your room, another child does their room. And then you can also do structured activities outside extracurricular, such as, martial arts or swimming or dance. Or you can just go in and just do walks, nature, just normal walks, nature hikes, those types of things are definitely really wonderful. So another activity that you guys can do to help those elementary school age kids is focusing on movement rewards. So, hey, you actually get the reward. Let's move first. Then you can actually watch, your TV show. And then after that next one, kind of taking that break 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, trying to do something more physical and moving. And then lastly, you can get that family time built in. And so you guys all wanted that kind of nice big family and that structured family time. So really developing more of like that family social evening, like walking together or going for a bike ride together as a family, or, setting up a play date with a neighbor or a buddy at the playground is also really great activities for these kids. And just as a general side note, getting your kids to do that buy-in and have them have a choice in what activities they want to do or what they want to participate in also creates better buy-in and follow through. Okay, so the next group we're going to be talking about is our preteen to teen. So this population is super rough. It's really right when they start hitting puberty, they're getting into their adult body. And preteens are often face a lot of different stress. Their body is changing, they have body issues, and then their motivation dips. And they're definitely feeling different from when they were a younger child. And then a lot of times as they're growing, they can actually have coordination difficulties and or things that they were able to do completely in task. They're having difficulty focusing and completing. So common barriers for the teenage population is really the academic fatigue and like that excessive screen use, that social withdrawalness. Sometimes those kids are getting bullied in sports or activities. And then they really lack that safe space for those neurodiverse children. And then they, have different movement needs. They might need more or less. So some suggestions to help, get those teenage kids engaged with you is actually, developing and trying to incorporate some family walks. This is going to increase that connection with your kids. Kids really just don't always like to talk to you at this age anyway. So being stuck on a walk for, 5 to 10 to 20 minutes actually kind of gives that opportunity where they're not sitting on their phone and trying to text with friends. And then, if you have an animal that you can walk, great. The neighbors that want you to walk their dog is also really amazing. And then that parent-child competition is really good. So, if you can do hula hoop or jump roping competitions with your kids and you want to get engaged with them. I know personally, my kids were always so much happier because they could actually beat me at the skill levels of these types of things. So that was actually really fun for them. So that's kind of a nice piece that they actually are starting to build that autonomy and some of those things that are actually easier for you all. Or easier for the kids. Okay, so then the other thing is that if you have kids that really just don't want to do anything with you specifically, you can download like different fitness apps that they can track their own activity, and or you could pull up a YouTube video or yoga video where they can do that on their own. However, you're not there right with them, holding their hand because they're trying to get that independence. And then doing some things that are strength-based, like resistance band or yoga, will definitely help all those kids, those teenage kids, to get moving. Another one is that you guys, if you had them in an earlier activity, you could get them into a dance, a martial arts for extracurricular. They're getting ready to go into high school, so starting some sports activities or extracurricular groups are always really great to help them with some generalized movement. And you don't have to do a team sport. You could even just do something very simple like track or cross-country running to help with individual physical activity. Other accountability tools for teenagers is the tracking apps on your smartphone, the fitness apps, having a buddy system, setting up walks or, walking around the, local shopping center are always really great accountability tools just to help with those teenagers. Daily physical activity is super important for our teenage kids just to support their mental health. Because it does release endorphins, and as well as it actually creates a fitness goal, and it allows them to adapt within their environment in addition to be able to engage with their peers and other social activities. Benefits of consistent movement is going to help our kids build confidence. It's going to improve sleep, and it's going to help any of our kids at whatever age regulate their emotions. and have that ability to self-regulate. And then also it's another great time for you guys to build that connection between you and your child, because they love it when you join in, even when they're the teenager and they say they don't want to talk to you or hang out with you. They actually do love that attention and just having you be there. If you feel like your child needs some support, you can contact us to schedule a free evaluation. And you can feel free to call or text us at 720-989-0179, or you can check us out at firststepspediatrictherapy.com. And if you feel like you might need support and you're unsure, we can provide free consults that are approximately 15 minutes where you can speak with a licensed therapist that you can ask any of your questions prior to scheduling that eval.